Hello everyone, Markan Pathak here from Anedya, and today we will be talking about over-the-air updates or OTA updates using Anedya Cloud. As we all know that over-the-air updates is a very important part of any IoT applications, which allows you to release new feature as well as provide bug fixes that for the bugs that you might have in your devices. And Anedya allows you to deploy the updates to your devices in a very scalable manner, whether you have 10 or 10,000 devices connected in your fleet. So let's get started. And so for first we will be here we have I already have a project created. In this project, as you can see, I have already created 5 demo devices which we will be rolling out our updates. For a little bit more complex scenario, I have created 3 devices with a certain model, and 2 devices have a different model number. We will also be exploring this possibility how we can target particular devices in your entire fleet as we progress. So first step is in deploying a firmware update is to upload your firmware into Anedya Cloud, and then you will be able to deploy that firmware across your fleet of devices. So let's upload our firmware. So first of all, what you need to do is you need to provide an asset identifier. So what is an asset identifier? Anedya allows you to provide updates not just to the firmware but to any type of asset that you have on your devices. So asset identifier gives you a unique name, okay, that can be used later on by the devices to identify what part or what file or what asset you are trying to update. So for now, let's keep it simple. I will be putting firmware here. Then second thing that you will be providing is called asset version. So asset version is string here. You can have any type of versioning scheme that you want. You can use semantic versioning, or you can use git commit hash. Any type of versioning scheme that you want to use, you can use it here. For now, let's just assume that we already have version 1 firmware installed on our devices, and we are releasing a version 2 of the firmware. Third thing that we have is the checksum. So basically, what Anedya does is you can use any convenient checksum algorithm that you want, like for example MD5 or SH256. You can compute the checksum of your asset. You can provide it to Anedya. Anedya will simply convey this checksum to the devices, and on the device side, whenever device downloads the firmware, it can verify whether the checksum is valid or not. So basically, it allows a device to check the integrity of the firmware file that is being deployed. For now, we will just keep it empty. That is not a mandatory field. So let's go to the next part. Here, you need to upload the file. So let's just click on this, and I will be uploading firmware version 2. Okay, so here it is uploaded. As you can see, the file name is automatically populated, and you can also change it if you want, but for now let's proceed. So here as you can see, we are uploading our asset, and it is done. Here you can see the asset that you just uploaded. Now you can go inside this asset, and you can see that we have just uploaded version 2.0 here. Okay, and it is in the deployable state. To deploy this asset as a part of a firmware update or OTA deployment, please note that the asset needs to be in deployable state. You can also upload an asset which has very large file size, let's say about 1 GB or 4 GB, but it will take some time to for that asset to become deployable as Anedya processes the file. Now from here also, like, you can create another version of this same asset. So for example, for this asset version, we already have that the identifier is the firmware, and here we can say, let's say if I am releasing the new version of this firmware, I can put it here, and I can simply upload the new file. Okay, for example, let's say we are also releasing version 3 of the firmware. Now let's upload this file again. Yeah, and it is done. Now let's go back to the assets. As you can see, now you have total 2 assets, and in the identifier, you can see that for the same asset identifier, we now have 2 different versions available. Now we will be using version 3.0 as the deployment, as the target of deployment, and then we will be deploying it to this entire fleet of devices. Now let's move to the deployments part, where we will be creating a deployment. So click on the create deployment. As you can see, you can give a name to this deployment. Let's give it a nice name, firmware update. Okay. Now here you will be able to start this deployment immediately, or you will be also able to schedule the deployment to start at a later time. Okay, so it is up to you that what time this deployment should start. You can schedule it to run automatically on a certain time, but for now let's just keep it as start immediately, and then we need to select the asset that we need to deploy to our devices. So let's click on the select existing asset. Let's select the identifier, what asset we want to basically deploy, and then we have to select this version, right, which we will be deploying. So I will be selecting version 2, or even if let's say I want to select version 3, then we can directly select that. So let's select version 3 and click done. Okay, so you will automatically have all the details available here. At the bottom corner, you will see that you can directly go to the review deployment, or you can configure the advanced options. This much details is enough to create a deployment, and then you will be able to start the deployment. But if you want to configure advanced further options, then you can configure it here. For example, the filters. Okay, so what is a filter? Filter basically allows you to target a specific group of devices. Like for example, if I don't have any filter applied here, so in this project I have 5 devices which will be targeted, and it will be showing me that 5 devices will be targeted here. Now if I add a filter basically allows me to specify a tag that is applied to this devices, and then it can automatically filter out the remaining of devices. So it will, let's suppose that if I in 3 of the devices I have this tag applied, that model MK1. So as you can see, it automatically calculates that it will be targeted to 3 devices. You can also edit it and say, for example, if you have a different model, so if it will automatically again update that there will be 2 devices which will be targeted using this filter. So you can use these filters to target number of in a number of ways. Like for example, you can use this to target devices in a particular locality, or you can target these devices by their model or variants, or any type of identifying information that you have attached with the device using tags. Also, along with these filters, you can also specify the stages in which this deployment will be performed. For example, here you can either choose a single phase deployment, which immediately deploys this asset to all of the selected devices, all of the filtered devices. For example, if I have 2 devices and if I choose single phase deployment, both devices, the units will be eligible to receive this deployment update. You can also create multi-stage deployments, in which what you want to do is, like, you want to specify the batch size. Like for example, if you want to first target a very small number of devices, for example, if you have 100 devices and you want to target 5 devices first, just to check that there is nothing wrong going on with the devices after receiving the update, you can do that. After that, you can simply add another stage. In that stage, you can target the remaining number of devices, or you can create up to 10 stages in this multi-stage deployment flow, and you can assign a number of devices in each stage. Along with each stage, there are a number of other options you can configure here. For example, if I want that after stage 1 is completed, the deployment should be paused for next 1 or 2 days just to check that whether firmware is working correctly or not. Okay, I can specify the delay here. So for example, if I can, I can specify delay of 1 day, and then so what happens is after stage 1, the deployment will be paused and it will continue further when this particular time limit expires. Along with that, you can also specify whether to auto abort this stage or not. So for example, if I put auto abort enable, and if certain number of devices that you have to specify here in the criteria, let's say I am putting 2 devices, and if 2 devices are reporting failure in the update process, the Anedya system will automatically abort this deployment to make sure that it doesn't propagate to all of your devices. So you can use this to safeguard your entire fleet from getting a wrong firmware update or any other kind of problems. For now, let's just assume that we want to roll out this in a single phase manner, and we don't want to filter any devices. So I will simply remove that, and then I will click on review deployment. So in a review deployment, you can for the last time you can visualize that what are the settings that you have applied to this deployment. So here, as you can see, you are targeting 5 devices. This will be the start time, expiry time is given, what asset you will be deploying, or the filters that you applied, and the stages that you have created in this deployment. So once you verify these details, click on create deployment, and it will ask for a confirmation. Let's go ahead, and this deployment has been created now. Now what will happen is that you can also click on this deployment, and it will take you to the deployment page where you can monitor the progress that is happening in real time. Like for example, if device receives the update and then it starts installation process, it will show up in here in the progress bar. Same applies for skipped failed successes. You can check which particular units or your devices have received this update by clicking on this, by going to this node section, and by clicking on this relevant status. Like for example, how many devices are in progress, what are the devices which have skipped the firmware update. So everything can be done right from here. It was an overview of the OTA functionality provided by Anedya. Okay. If for detailed description and detailed features documentation, you can go to the Anedya documentation. Links, all the relevant links are provided in the description below. If you have any further questions, you can get in touch with us by joining the Discord community. For the same link is also given in the description. See you there.